Hey YouTube, how's it going? Today we're going to take a quick review of a couple of paramotors here. We have a Power2Fly Titan RS, and then we also have a Power2Fly LAF, or light as a feather. And we're just going to go over a couple of things, just my personal take on comparing these two frames, and their pros and cons of each. All right, so starting with the left, as you guys know, light as a feather frame. The LAF frame has been around for quite some time. It's pretty stylish. It's got the carbon Kevlar spars here. It's made of mostly aluminum. It's got some quick release mechanisms right here so you can come apart. The swing arms, they look good. They're mean. Everything's aluminum here. It's a nice tried and true frame. I have seen a few of these take a couple of hits out in the field and get bent relatively easy. Because it's aluminum, it's softer, but here, at least in Texas, parts are relatively available, for repairs, so it's not a big deal. This one is newer, but this one has not been crashed yet. Matter of fact, this one is brand new. This one, on the other hand, this Titan RS is a newer design from Power2Fly. It's all titanium, so it does have that natural titanium finish. It's stronger, supposedly it's lighter. I don't know that for a fact because I have not weighed the frames individually. I've seen this one take a number of hits in the field as well without getting bent. So I do believe that this one is actually stronger as well as maybe possibly lighter. Now, there's a couple of things I don't like about the Titan RS. I'll be honest with you, the orange one over here, the light as a feather, it's more stylish. It looks nicer. To me, it does. Of course, the carbon Kevlar always looks good. And then this is actually tubular aluminum. It's got an oval contour to it, as opposed to the Titan. The Titan is just it's thin. It looks a little wimpy. Yes, I get it. Titanium is a little harder to work with, and I've never actually seen tubular titanium with the oval like the aluminum counterpart over here, but that's okay. This one too is brand new, and there's a couple of complaints I have with it coming in. Let's start with the net. As you can see, when I received this, it didn't come with this rope here. It was black, like the LAF kind of rope right here. However, this one was, it looked like it had suffered some chafing along the frame. It was kind of frayed at places, and it was looking dangerously like it was going to break. So I had to order some. This is actually Kevlar rope right here. I think it's 1.5 millimeters, the size that I use, and I just rethreaded it, and it's much stronger. And why I did that, I did notice as well the fit and finish of the net. There's a couple of places where it seems a little baggy, namely kind of in these bottom areas here. Let me show you. Like on this side, for example, we have a little floppiness here, but it's nice and tight right there. Kind of tells me almost like this is welded a little too high, or the net, maybe if this came down, it would release some tension on the lower piece. It would add more tension and relieve some of the bagginess there. In comparison to the LAF, this one is more uniform. This one just fits better. It didn't come frayed. The netting looks overall better balanced, feels better intact. Like, this is proven. Now, I do have one thing I do really like about the LAF is look at the pull start. Let's look at the pull start for a minute. It's got this little extra bracket right here on the side. And this is a right-hand pull start. So one would assume you pull it to the right, not on the left. And the pulley, it's unobstructed. Now this is an Atom 80 on this one, and we're gonna compare it to, this is a Motion 185 Factory R. On this one, yes, I know, apples and oranges. However, pull start on the right, the same way, and kind of the same setup. It should sort of be the same. The complaint though, let me come around this side real quick, is look at the way this one's assembled. It has this little ear right there, and again, one would assume this is right-hand start, but watch what happens. Watch what happens. When I pull, notice that rope on the bottom, how starts chafing right there at that little grommet. At that little grommet, it started wearing a groove. Actually, now this is brand new. I mean, it has a few flights on it. And you notice how it started rubbing the raw titanium, and it actually started burning the rope. Almost like this ear right here was welded to the wrong side. They probably should have welded it to the other side so you don't have that problem. So what I'm having to do to counteract that, I'm having to start with a left-hand pull going the other way. Now, that's crossing behind my neck. I'm able to do it without rubbing, but you know, it'll avoid this unless I make a modification, which I will do tonight. We're gonna do something kind of cool here, and we're gonna fix that. This one, on the other hand, see the spar's different. You have this cross member here that the Titan does not have. It's unobstructed, but this is just a nicer setup. It's got this little linkage here. I was able to get a spare one. I got to bend it myself. It just pulls nicer. It's better. It's unobstructed. Even the pull start looks a little better with the orange here. This Vitarazi. They're both Vitarazi engines. From my supplier, I was able to get the spare part. This is the part here that I needed. Of course, I'm gonna have to bend it, do the bending myself, identical, and then I'm gonna have to drill a hole because I'm gonna try to replicate this. Yes, I get it. Drilling through titanium is more difficult, and I gotta be careful. I'm gonna put in the drill press here, and I'm probably gonna do it in this area too, because the strengthening. I don't want to break the tube, you know what I mean, weaken the tube, and so forth and so on. So there's a lot of consideration going into this, and we'll get to that in a minute. The delivery of the frame, for whatever reason, even though I received this one brand new, yes, it was kind of dirty, to tell you the truth. It was a little dingy. You know, I was not entirely impressed with, this was a costlier frame, but just with the presentation overall, and what I got for the price, I gotta say this LAF definitely looks better. You know, and I've heard that from a couple of other people that we fly with in the community. But you know, I'm not disappointed. I mean, we're gonna rock and roll it, and later on maybe I'll switch to an RS or continue with this or something else. But I got to give it a shot. You know, let's go with it. I mean, hell, the factory R is where it's at, so I had to have the matching. You know, kind of go with it. But anyway, let's cut through the chase here. Let's get to this mod, and we're gonna see how this goes. All right, guys. Quick observation before we drill some stuff. So this came off in this direction here, and you notice how the detent holes line up. Because I know this question will come up, why don't we just reverse it, right? So the tab is on the other side. You know, which kind of would make sense, but however, you notice the detent holes don't line up, and the same thing at the top. Here's the spring detents, you know, now they're backwards. So we're still talking about cutting more holes. Now, if we look at the geometry here, the way this is, could it possibly work if we put the pulley mechanism there and pull to the right? I guess it could, right? But we could not fit this just by simply, it looks geometrically correct, but we could not simply just rotate this to the other side without more modifications or drilling holes. I mean, it is simply a screw up, you know, it's a screw up on how they welded the tabs, and it just a little bit baffles me. I mean, granted, I'm sure, you know, the R&D department over at Power2Fly probably put a lot of thought into this design, but this seems like a little oversight when the other just seems so successful. A little oversight for welding that tab on the wrong side. I don't know, maybe they'll see this video later and make the mod. Let's continue. All right, so what I'm doing here is using progressively bigger drill bits to drill through this, and actually, since I don't have any metal lubricating oil, any cutting oil, what I've learned is olive oil, like from your kitchen, makes a great alternative for these little projects. looks like we've achieved some degree of success. Now let's go ahead and get the other bracket bent and see if we can fix it up. So I want to point something out here. The reason why I chose to drill in that spot, because there's a pretty fair argument when you drill through any tube, you're gonna weaken the integrity of it, right? Structural. Well, as I started thinking, since it has that tab on the side to strengthen it in that area, it made most sense to go ahead and use the same location, so if there's any weakening, it's actually at least strengthened by that tab, as opposed to being offset or something where it can go ahead and break. That would be the shop dog. What's up, Griff? All right, guys. So I got it back together. Now this time, it's got this bracket on there. When I pull, of course, it looks like it's clearing everything. You can kind of see it's not rubbing against anything. Right hand pull. From this perspective, it looks close, but it's really okay. So it's better than it rubbing on that side the way it did. So I'll have to fly it this weekend and let's see how it holds up. It looks good. I think it's better. And of course, once again, let's compare this to the LAF. You see the LAF is slightly different. The bracket is different. This one's actually a little thinner. You know, the other one's a little thicker, so I had to keep using that little quick disconnect. But this is just perfect, you know, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see if this mod holds up. The hole looks good. Nothing wonky. We'll see. Anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you next time.